Hello, my name is Dr. George Mochocki, and welcome to Retail Management, how to run a business, how to open up a business, how to start a business from scratch, how to maintain a business. Offered by Harper College. My name is Dr. George Mochocki. Okay, you're taking me an online class, face-to-face class, or a blended class. So we already been discussing this in our discussion board or in our lecture slash discussion that we normally have in the class. Okay, so here's what we have. We're going to be talking about gathering and processing in retailing. Chapter 8 basically is more like a logistic type of a chapter. How do I fit in? Remember, you're opening up a business for my project for this class. You're at the end of the retail logistic chain. You're the last one before the next one is the customer. So that's where you have to look at it. So you're going to tell you how we get the information from our suppliers to our warehouse, from our customers. It's a good chapter. It's going to tell you about retail information system, that's point of purchase, how to do a lot of stuff automatically. What you want to do, use technology to your benefit. What you're going to find out here, you're going to have primary data and you have secondary data. And the whole thing is primary data. It's mine. I gather for a specific purpose. There's a lot of secondary data out there on my competition, on my clientele, on the demographic I'm in. It doesn't cost me much. It may not be packaged to the same way that I need it, but it has enough that 80% of the information will help me make up the next step. And then I go to primary data. All right, so let's go. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. You already have your concept map, and this is a quick overview. It's going to be a half an hour or less, and I'm not going to go into detail, just things you might have forgotten about, and you look at it. Remember, make sure you utilize the book. Excellent book. Author has everything else, has links. This one's kind of a little bit more of a drier thing, but you got to know where you're going to get your inventory from, where you're going to be your supplier, and what do the customers think. Remember, last week we did chapter 7, understand the consumer. Now we understand the consumer. Now let's see if we can get the products, the product mix to reflect what our consumers likes or dislike or the lifestyle that we learned from the other chapter. So I'm going to put this at 150. I'll do 200. Some people are complaining they couldn't see. I'll go through this all. Okay, so let's go. So there's a chapter again. So remember, you had the concept map. You may only have the first tier on here. There we go. Okay, let me make this adjusting. I'm ready. Those who know me, I'm live. I don't do very little editing. What you see is what you get. For some reason, oh, there we go. They're too close. Okay, here we go. All right, so we had this figure in here and just tell you how the information flow, the regular communication flow chart. You had the sender, the receiver, but in this thing you're looking from the supplier and information, some of the manufacturer's requirements, some of the information from the supplier. The supplier provides me, and I provide the customer. So here's it's the same thing: sender, receiver, and information in between, the medium that I deliver it on. Okay, so now what do manufacturers need to know? We talked about from the retailer. They need to know my category sales. They need to know my inventory turnover. So they know how much they should manufacture before. Okay, so I got to give them that information. Level customers return, and it depends on the quality. Do I take anything back? Do I have a 30-day, 90 days? Do I have a 6-month return policy? They need to know that because they're going to be pricing you accordingly. Feedback on competition. Okay. Now from customers, attitudes and styles. We had that last chapter. How much is a brand loyalty? Remember, I utilize brands, especially in a smaller shop, just to give me that credibility and the quality. And then I might have off-brand or generic things in there, but I have to bring them in. The brands bring them in, and then when they see there's no difference, or I got quality private labels, for lack of a better word. Private label, I mean me as a company, Maytag, instead of doing it on their label, they're doing it on my label. Gamma furniture. I'm just making it up. So remember, but when they see that the quality is the same, pretty darn the same, and the cost is the same, you could have them switch it to your brand or to your private label if you want. Okay, retailers need to know from the suppliers, remember, advance notice of new models. I got to know that. Training materials, what's changed, so my sales force is up there. What are the sales forecasts? You know what I'm talking about? Justification for any kind of price changes. They have to know. I have to, because I have to package that and put that information out to my customers at the end. From the customers want to know why, The retailers want to know why the customers shop here. what the customers likes or dislike. Where else do people shop? Those are my competitors. If I'm closed, my prices are higher. Who my competition? If I'm the only one there, I got it made. Okay. Now, customers information that they also need to know from the supplier is the assembly and operating instruction has to come in there. And remember, sometimes we buy stuff from China or from overseas, and the translation is not that good for us. The diagrams may be good or very few, and so they're having difficulty putting something together. They're not upset with the Chinese manufacturer. They're upset with me with the store because I'm selling this and I don't have a clarification. And if there is something wrong with that, it's up to me as a store to say, okay, and it's a selling item, I'll have my own YouTube showing them how to do it. Or I'll assemble it for them at no charge. Or I'll assemble them for a small fee. Okay? From the retailer, where specific merchandise gets stocked in the store, I got to know where to put it. Methods of payments acceptable, and the customers and rain checks or the policy. Rain checks, a lot of people don't look at rain checks anymore, and the reason is I want a now society. So if you don't have it, take a rain check, but they're going to go online. They're going to find that somebody's going to deliver it the next day, or they got the smartphone. You don't have it here. Here's $1 more, and that's when they look at the price. $1 more. Do I wait a day or 2 days? He says next week $1 more. Just I'll pay it and let me get it tomorrow. You lost that customer. You have to make sure you know your inventory. You have to make sure you know where you could get your suppliers are close in hand that could send it to you in case something doesn't work out how you planned it. Better, not worse. Worse, you got stuck with a lot of material. Usually, your sale went better than you expected, and you don't have enough supplies to satisfy your customers' needs. Okay? All right. Now you have a retail information system, and this one basically anticipates information for retail manager. It collects, organizes, and stores on a continuous basis. And you assign your inventory, for lack of better words. And here's the problem: the environment, the philosophy, strategic plan. And that could be point of purchase. It could be radio frequency tags you on here. Anything you have that controls your inventory, controls your customers coming in. All that information I have, data and everything else, my employees, all that information for me is what makes my business successful because I have to be able to utilize it. Even though, remember, there's secondary data, security cameras, but hey, you know what? But shows me the flow of traffic. It shows me where most customers do it. It shows me that I put the sign there, no one ever notices it. I put it on this site for whatever reason, people are stopping looking at it. I start adjusting because I have real live data. It is secondary data. And then I put the side, and now using as primary data, still looking for my security to see if more customers responded to me by changing the location. If that's it, then I know here's the spot. And I always have to monitor it because customers like it, and behaviors do change. Okay, database management, a major element of RIS, and basically is a retail information system. Okay. MIS, Management Information System, Sales Information System. This is Retail Information System. It gathers information, stores information. So the loyalty program. Amazon does that. How often you buy? Oh, it seems like you buy every month. Hey, you haven't bought this for a while. You sure you may need it? Alexa does that, trying to get your buying easier. You know what I mean? Inventory planning, trade area analysis. What's new coming in there? How could I utilize it to my benefit as a business? Do I buy it by bulk or do I buy it by smaller amounts until I find out and pay a higher price? Or do I already bring it in at bulk and charge the customer a higher price? All those are things you're thinking of, but you have to understand your customers, you have to understand your store, and you have to understand what the people think of the brand that you've created. Okay, 5 steps in approaching data, real easy. A particular database, what am I looking for? Am I just looking for telephone numbers or email addresses, really what I'm looking for? And when I send the data, do I have the buying problem? Acquire necessary information. If I don't have it, do I buy it out? Retain information is usable. I got a lot of activity going in. What do I retain? I don't want to have over information. I get rid of it. Just what's pertaining for me to motivate and understand my customer, I will save that. If you're looking at Facebook says anything. Twitter, you don't get rid of that. That's kind of scary, but Who am I? Analyze data. You have to look at the data, and then basically you adjust to what it is. And they had a figure in there, and we talked about that in the class. Okay, components of data warehousing. When I look at data warehouses, do I keep it all on my one computer and crash it? A lot of data information is set in a secondary warehouse. In case something happens to my hub, all my stuff here, I lose customers' contact, all that information. Oh my goodness! So they back up. It costs me a little amount. You ever see a lot of things? They got those little microwave. Looks like little satellite dishes. Just sending information back and forth. It's mirror to it. If something happens here, there's another thing, maybe a few seconds behind, but it captures all the data. I don't lose that for a fee. Well worth it, especially with viruses and outages or something happening at that one location. My data is stored. Similar to like a lot of people do now in the cloud. How protected is the cloud? Now, there's data that's in the cloud protected a little bit stronger than some of the other accounts you have in there. Okay. Now, data mining and micro mining. Data mining, anything I can find out about the customer. If you sneeze 5 times, I can sell you some cold medicine. If you are customers always looking to, hey, health conscious, I know that I can start carrying that. Or if I'm selling apparel, I know you're an outdoorsy type of person, so I could sell specifically to your likes or dislikes, depending on what you buy, depending on what your activities are. Okay, now micro marketing. Application of data mining where retailers use different. They look at the difference between the different data they're pulling out and develop a focused retail strategy specific a consumer segment. What they're doing, I got all this data about everything. Now, through that data, I just want to see how women shop. I want to see how kids do, who does more impulsive buying, who buys more of the bigger items. Is it men? Is it women? Is it family? And a lot of that data I have, like a security camera. So I kind of see, I have data on the computer, which way you go. When you go into my site, how do you flip all over? All that is being tracked and monitored. If I could take that data, pull out what I want, what works for one segment, now I could do a very niche marketing to that area and give them very specific how they like to take information. How stores track your behavior, and I think with this on here, and this is just a video to showing you how to do it through their security cameras anyway, and you're already paying for it, so it's secondary data, but why not have somebody in there and start analyzing that information? Or you start looking at your accounts receivable, or you look at your inventory. How long is inventory staying in there? Why do I buy 3 months in advance and it takes me 6 months to sell it? Maybe I should just buy it in 2 months, whatever. You could adjust your time frame that gives me more of a cash flow, or what in finance we call free cash. Not free, it's cash that's not tied up, it's just I have some extra. You pay 10 days earlier, you get 10% off. That's 10% that's free cash you could utilize for something else. Not really free, you got to make the effort on that. Okay, applying UPC technology. And if I'm looking at this again, this is everything else. Scanner, a lot of stores, they've got the radio frequencies, they got the beds, the radio frequency, your clothing, that's active clothing, where you sweat the most, they know how much exercise you're doing, they know your heartbeat, all that's already incorporated. So now I've got this technology. Do I have to worry about asking the customer, like a facial recognition? He or she comes in, sees the face, boom, take whatever you want, radio frequency, you pass by these checkpoints, I already have your charge card on there, gives you the bill as you walk out, you never have to take anything out of the box, don't have to do anything. I just made your shopping experience easier and innovative. And I got your payment right off the bat. Don't worry about anything else, okay? People are still going to scan the system, but you at least have a general idea. A marketing research process. Okay, if I'm looking at marketing research, I'm always looking at different ways to collect the data without violating any kind of privacy or any kind of a competitive edge, okay? So I'm looking at problems, secondary data. It's out there. It doesn't cost me as much, but it doesn't basically make address what I'm looking for. But it just gives me a general idea, maybe 70%. Then I have that idea. Now I can reform my question and maybe utilize their data or information I have that on my clients and send out a specific survey to ask specific questions of a group of people who utilize this product, and should I maintain it, or what about a cost? Will you still utilize this product, or will you go to my alternative if the prices go up on this? We start utilizing private label. That's there's programs out there that gives you your primary data, because you're specifically asking a question. Secondary just tells me how many people bought it, and I try to make some assumptions, which is good. It doesn't cost me as much, and if you're good at it, you can make the right assumptions. Okay? All right, so now we got secondary data, and all it tells you advantages or disadvantages, fast and expensive. Disadvantages may not be complete, may be dated, it means outdated or anything in business. It's within the 5 years. The most current data is the most applicable one I could find, but it costs me more. So I may go, instead of within 3 months, I may go for 6 months, close enough. I'd rather have the 3-month data, but that's current, so it costs a little bit more. But I said this is good enough for my operation, but I don't want to go 4 years back. That's already outdated data. Obsolete. Customers change, profiles change, different things change, neighborhood change, people change, culture change, different likes. If what was trendy now is not trendy anymore. Okay. All right, so we've got that, and then you've got internal data. You got stuff on customers. You already got credit, a lot of information on them, how they buy, and then external data. You get academic searches. You could buy data from other, not even your competitors sell you some data on lifestyles of individuals, because they collect that when they do the registration. They ask them all that question: what books do you read? Are you Christian? Are you religious? Are you Jewish? Are you an atheist? Are you Muslim? Why did they ask you those questions? Because now they can specifically sell you certain food, certain products, certain services. Because they could sell it as their own business, but it's not a competitive. It's something that they don't have to sell. They'll just sell your data, your name to this area, and they'll sell that information. Now somebody else will try to sell it to you, and it doesn't cost so much because they already collected the data. You gave it up when you said, I agree to terms and conditions. Okay? And the primary advantage, current, relevant, no control source. Disadvantage is more expensive, turns more time consuming, and sometimes it's hard to find that that niche you're looking for. You might have to rely on secondary data and kind of adjust it a little bit. Okay? Primary data, right? Decision in-house. Do you do it by yourself? You do sampling. You go to Costco, try this food, try to buy it. Data collection methods, surveys, simulations, experiment and observation. And I have it all up in here. Survey in person. The telephone is inexpensive nowadays. You could call them up on the web, and you see the person talking to you, so you feel a little bit more credible instead of that just a voice, and it says I'm from Washington and now I'm a survey company. How do I know? Why don't you put your company's name on there? I don't trust them. But maybe if I had their face and see something, this could still scam me, but it's got that personal face-to-face touch to it. Disguises, 9 disguise, and then they had everything else, different, friendly, narrow scope, wide scope. So this is information you could figure out, okay, from 2 different stores looking for different slice of information for the same customer, depending on what they're selling. Okay, mystery shoppers, or like some of the people working misery shoppers, because they're basically there to check you out. They're like in a store, they're buying stuff. They may get a discount if they're already shopping there, but they're looking what's the ad of the store. Is the store clean? Is the person mad? Sometimes they come in there and try to see how you respond to some of the complaints or some of the issues. And and the next day your boss gets Mr. Shopper came in there, you're going to give you a C. Oh my goodness, it's like a poor rating, but it's actual. And now you could, at the higher level, someone could say, here's what happened. Some of the mystery shoppers already got the video cameras recording. I don't know if that's legal, but it's out there. All right, just be careful. These mystery shoppers may evaluate operations, experience, sales presentation, anything you have out there. It's good as an outside source, like doing a focus checking on your business. Some are better than others. Okay, experiment. When you're trying different things, trying your different product mix. What do you think will sell with this thing? What about this color? This color didn't go. What about this? That didn't go. Oh, this worked well. They like this. This was a good combination. People liked it when I made the combination. People liked it when I kept them separate because I had different markets I could sell to somebody else. Okay. And then you change something, the price, you change the location, and you see that what happened. Did it increase sales? Did it reduce sales? Did it get more awareness? whatever you're looking at for. Okay, and then simulation, you kind of simulate the experiment. You try it out in real life, or a computer basically does it. I'm doing architects do a lot of that, so you can kind of walk in. And nowadays with the virtual headset, you're really in their office. Man, you can feel it. You can bump into something, so you have a different flavor than just looking at the screen and following it along. You put this on, it's like that office is there. You're in 3D. They utilize that for operation, for training. They utilize for different kind of training where you can actually see it and work it because you got the gloves and everything else. You're actually feeling the stuff, picking it up. I mean, it's another way of looking at it before you actually go live. Remember, this is simulation, so you get enough people do the simulation. But when you got people in a live atmosphere, then you smell, you breathe, you got the crowds, you got everything else, and then you go back to experiment to say, okay, simulation said this should work. I put it in there. If it works, good. If not, it makes some adjusting, and I adjust my simulation. All right, so I think I have everything in here. And so if I'm looking at this, remember, when we looked at this, you were looking at this from a point of view as a 100. I think I had it at 100. Okay. You're looking at this from a point of view as a logistic, from your supplier to anything you can control in the logistics channel. But since you are the end of the logistics channel, you are the end. You still have to get some information from the manufacturer, how to put something together. If there's a difficulty, you as a store owner will make those arrangements to a YouTube or find some other information or talk to a distributor. I need a better diagram. I need a better training. You get data from internal, from in the company. You get data from outside. You get data from other your peers or your network. Even though they're not selling your product, they still have a similar experience with the culture or the customer base that in that area is similar to yours, so you could get some information from them. Okay, primary data, you're paying for it, but you're very specific. You want to make sure it's just good before you actually put it into a simulation. You do simulation, the primary data, and then do the experiment to actually put it in. UPS Technology, you have it with the chips now and all kind of clothes and everything else. So you utilize that to get the customer out. You utilize that for theft control. You utilize that for pricing. If I have to price, I don't have to put a tag on there. It says so much, and then I could just go automatically. Kohl's does that, and it reduces the price. Here's the item. It was for $29.99. Now it's only $15.99. Sale, whatever. And so it gives you that information, instant changes on that. You don't have to go on there and actually change every tag. You just change the overall price on there. And some of them are electronic. They even change it right on, if you keep the same material in the same spot. A little harder on a grocery store because you have what do you call it, a large width of or a scrambled merchandise, a lot of stuff, and you have a fairly good depth of different products. It's a little harder, but you can still do it. It depends on your operation, so you utilize that. And your whole thing is like from the other things, collect all the data you can internally from the client, but use secondary data before you use primary data. And some of it's just a gut feeling. You use your security cameras, you look around, and you kind of know your customers, how they shop, what they look for. After a while, when the purchaser, remember, those of you going to be purchasing or selling your product to business, you have to know their client because he or she already knows what they're buying. But they're always looking for a good deal, but something different to bring customers in. Otherwise, they become stagnant. What do I have? What's trendy? Take a look at it. Remember? So you have to understand the logistic to the last end, but they're the ones dealing with the customer, so you are a resource to them to sell your products so they come back. Okay, that's it. Again, my name is Dr. George Mochocki. This is retail management. We're looking at this as part of the fashion design and other marketing here at Harper College. How do I put this together and actually open a store, a boutique, or I'm a seller or a buyer, so I understand the business aspect of it. And in this portion is the logistic channels that we deal with, and how I look for better prices, and that could be multi channels. Either I deliver as close to the neighborhood, or I use the post office, I use UPS or FedEx, or I use DHLS for overseas. It doesn't make a difference. You see what I mean? I've got different channels depending where the customers are and what are the needs. I charge them for it and make a little money on that. Remember, they charge me to provide the service. I charge them a little bit because I have the contact and I could put the guarantee. Any problems, they come to me, and let's deal with my distributors or warehouses. So I think I have everything else on this channel. Again, thank you for signing up for the class, and then we'll see you in the class. Utilize this so you have some understanding of your your manufacturers, your suppliers, and other people that help your brand and your business become successful. Bye. Let's see how many minutes I got. My lord. 24. I'm under a half an hour. I'm getting better at this. And have a nice day.